Before every season, teams talk about winning the PAC championship. Now that the Titans have won it, what's next?
Obviously we want to repeat. That's our number one goal. But last year in the spring, it was a 5-game format. This year is a full 10-game schedule. And the challenges that presents is, twofold in my opinion. I thought our guys did a great job of handling the situation that was presented to us. We handled it from a mature aspect. We wanted to go out and compete and get better. I was really proud of our players and our school and how we handled it. But, the reality of it is it's hard to repeat. It's a competitive league. We've got a lot of people in this room that want to sit up and say they are the defending champions. So we're honored to do it. But we also realize it's going to take a whole lot of work. And we're going to have to be fortunate and get some breaks and stay healthy, too, because it's a grind, and so we're looking forward to it, though.
Your program is coming off its most successful season since Westminster joined Division III. How do you keep your players, and not just your players, your coaches, hungry to continue building off of that success from last year?
I think this was my favorite question that you guys asked. In terms of how to stay hungry, it's really simple. You invite a lot of competition in the camp, which we did a great job. Our coaching staff did a tremendous job of bringing in not only newcomers to our team, but some transfers in that will add to the level of competition. And I believe that competition will create an environment that will make everyone hungry to compete. And then secondly, if you look at our schedule, there's no room for complacency. We have the number one team in the country, Mount Union, at home in front of our fans, and then we follow that up with a team we haven't beat since I've been here in Case Western, and then play our arch rival, Grove City. So our first 3 football games to open up this year will get our attention, will keep us from being complacent. I promise you that.
We heard you talk about Ian Barr last year as a player that you were a player to watch on your defensive unit. How impressed were you with how dominant Ian was for your defensive unit last spring?
There's a cliche, you can't measure a guy in terms of size, but his heart. That's Ian. Ian is somebody that consistently will go out, and not only what you're seeing on Saturday and Fridays, in particular in the spring, but you see that every day in practice. Ian is the same guy in terms of his level of intensity. And he is somebody that talks the talk and walks the walk. I was just really, really excited and grateful to watch him compete coming off of an ACL injury. Never used it as an excuse. Quite frankly, he probably got better, stronger due to his rehab. And really, what does that say when your best player is also your hardest working player on the team? I think it sets a great example for our team, for our room. And our guys love him. They follow him. They believe in him. And I was really, really happy to see him go out and perform the way he did.
Ian was a player that you told us to be on the lookout for last year. Talk about a player offensively and defensively that we should be on the lookout for this fall.
To be successful, you're going to have to do it up front, and I don't know what one of our PAC coaches earlier in the day said that, but it starts up front with your offensive and defensive lines. We've got skilled players in this league, and I think we've got a lot of good ones. I think that separation is going to be up front. I believe our defensive line has the chance to be not only good in our conference, but good in the country. We've got some disruptive defensive ends in Frank Antuano and Braden Timmons that are going to be a handful. We've got some guys that are going to step up in that role because of the level of competition. I'm really excited about seeing a guy like Ty Reeder, who's been in our program 3 years. It's his time. A guy by Noah Crawford, who is a defensive tackle that we feel that's physically capable. And we've got a couple guys coming in to our program that are going to push pretty hard right away. Offensive line is an area that we've been blessed with to have a lot of starters that have come back year after year. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case, at least this year, where we're not returning everybody, although we've got a bulk of our guys coming back. Devin Little, our center, I feel is underrated, somebody that competes at a high level. I also like Our interior guys too. Gabe Cleveland's somebody that's been consistent for us that I know our fellow coaches have recognized him, but I believe he has ability to do some big things for us. And we've got a young man in Felter that's coming back and playing for us, and we've got a grad transfer that'll come in. I think that'll open up some eyes in the league as well. So up front is our area that we want to continue to be good, and it's going to be tested, like I said, right away.
We talked a little bit about last spring earlier. You're number 12 nationally going into the fall season. Is there additional pressure for you and your program to defend your PAC title and earn a spot in the national playoffs with more eyes on your program than there have been in a long, long time?
I think we all, as coaches and players here, are competitive. We all have our own internal pressures. My internal pressures are more of a challenge than anything I see outside of, to be honest with you, outside the room. I will say this: I'm honored and blessed to be at Westminster, where we've won national championships. We've had All-Americans. We've had undefeated seasons. We have a great history and tradition in our program. So the internal pressure there is just walking the halls and looking at all the national championship trophies. I just visited Coach Fusco last week, and he continues to tell me he's with me, win or draw. So I want to repeat that, win or draw. So there is an expectation. I do believe it's a good thing for our program to get some national recognition. But more importantly, it reaffirms to me our league. If you're going to win the conference in the PAC, you're probably going to be ranked in the top 15, and I think we deserve it as a conference. I believe it's a great conference that is getting recognition across the country, and we want to uphold our part, and it's our time. We need to do it, and I feel confident we can get it done.
Coach, this is the last question I have for you, and I mentioned earlier our friends from in the D3FB huddle sent us some questions, so they wanted to shoot one your way. And this is from Frank in the D3FB huddle. Are you ready and willing to have Frank Rossi in the stadium for your Week 1 matchup with Mount Union? Talk a little bit about how that all came together.
Yeah, to Mount Union's credit, they reached out to us and asked if we had an appetite to play them. Coach Daffler, who is going to be retiring as our athletic director, has Mount Union ties. Highly dissuaded me not to take the game, but it makes sense. The reality is, if you do get an opportunity to represent this conference in the playoffs, you're going to probably see them, and I think it's a better opportunity for us to play them early than wait until week 12 or 13 when that group really their depth and they'll get rolling. So I think it's a win-win opportunity. I'd love to have Frank there. I think it's going to be an exciting game. Our campus is really, really gearing up for it, and our players are really looking forward to it.
Coach, thank you. Ian, a few questions for you. You're coming off an outstanding season, one of the best seasons an individual Westminster football player has ever had. D3Football.com, first team All-American, your school's first, PAC Defensive Player of the Year. Game after game, how do you think you were such a dominant player, and how do you plan to build on that success this year?
I think it starts in practice just every single day during the week. Like Coach Benzel said, I take a mentality that every practice you got to kind of treat it like a game. If you're not practicing intensely, you're not going to be able to perform in a game when it matters. So I think that's important to keep doing, just stay consistent. And I'm just always working to get better, so the fire's still there.
Coach mentioned about your ACL injury. Suffered a torn ACL 2019 ECAC bowl game. What did you learn about yourself during your recovery, and what did it mean to not only be able to play the following season after that injury, but play so well to help your school win its first ever PAC title?
Yeah, well, it started, Coach Benzel doesn't want me hip tossing 350-pound linemen anymore. So there's that, and then just the people around me are very supportive and got a lot of caring people in my circle. So that helped, especially doing rehab through COVID was kind of tough. and then just my want to win. I have a strong desire to win, and in high school I was kind of part of teams that we'd make the quarterfinals. We always knew we were going to lose the Whitfield champ. Came here, we were averaging 7-3 my freshman and sophomore year. Really wanted to break through and finally win a PAC championship.
Describe your leadership style as one of the more veteran players as part of your program.
I'm probably more of a lead by example guy. Just go in every day, treat it like a job. But I think I can be vocal when I have to. When I recognize that the team needs that, I can get on them, and I know that my words kind of carry weight whenever they're said. So I think that's important.
This is one of my favorite kind of questions to ask. Coach Benzel selected you to represent Westminster today. What does that mean to you? And talk a little bit about the winning culture that Coach Benzel has been able to establish since he arrived on campus.
Yeah, that means a lot to be recognized today here by Coach Benzel, and it's something that whenever I signed up senior year of high school, this is kind of goals that you set for yourself. You want to be this type of player, and I work hard for it. And in terms of Coach Benzel, he gets the best out of everyone. Whether you're a number one guy or a scout team guy, it's expected that you show up and you give what you have to the team. And that's important to building a winning program. Is you can't just have your starters bought in. You got to have every scout team guy giving you good reps throughout the week, and it shows up on Saturdays.
Final question, Ian. Last year, Coach talked about going from good to great. How do the Titans continue to stay hungry and be successful this fall?
Yeah, I think like we've said, obviously the spring was great, and it's a huge stepping stone, but it's in the past now. I think we set goals in the spring to still win. In the fall we wanted to win 2 conference championships in a calendar year. So the goal's still there, and we want to make a playoff run. So I think that's important to us. We're going to go for it.
Coach Benzel, Ian, thank you guys. Westminster will open its season Saturday, September 4th at home against the University of Mount Union.